Hey guys, Jim here again to bring you guys another 5 video. This time I'm coming to UFC Brazil 3 main event that features the coaches locking horns, an explosive light heavyweight grudge match between the pound for pound greatest trash talker in the world, bar none, and a 3-time former world title challenger, Chael P. Sonnen, when he goes toe-to-toe with his arch nemesis, the former Pride middleweight champion, the axe murderer, Wanderlei Silva. And what is to be the war to settle the score for once and for all. Now I will give you guys a short profile as well as a full fight breakdown of the two fighters and who I've ultimately winning and walking away with the bragging rights. Now without further ado, this feud between Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei Silva really kicked off when Chael Sonnen was promoting his fight against Anderson Silva at UFC 117. He basically took it a little bit too far, talking all of that shit about the Brazilian people, Brazilian fighters, especially the ones in Black House. He really sparked, a lot of anger in the Brazilian community, especially Wanderlei Silva, because Wanderlei basically called him out on that. As you can see, when they had that little video where him and Chael were traveling together and doing media. And, of course, Chael's like, whatever, respect, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's only escalated since then. I mean, they've basically gone back and forth, calling each other out and talking shit to each other on Twitter and stuff like that. And hell, they almost went at it at an expo in Las Vegas. But, the fight itself never really made sense to make at the time, considering where they were in their careers. I mean, Chael obviously was winning fights and getting title shots, 2 against Anderson Silva, and being featured in the marquee of the big events, while Wanderlei was basically going like 6-5 in the UFC and couldn't even sniff title shot. And he's been a far cry from the Wanderlei he was in Pride. He's won some, via knockout and one decision, and he's lost some by getting a little bit overzealous and getting knocked out, or just being outworked by the likes of Rich Franklin and Chuck Liddell. Now, it does make sense because they're both kind of at a career crossroads, and it's not like neither one of these guys are going to get a title shot anytime soon. Especially with the way Chael's looking right now, because he just dropped his 3rd straight title shot to John Jones last year by being out Chael Sonnen and TKO'd, and then he came back strong against Shogun, dominated the fight from start to finish, took him down. They got that guillotine choke in at the inaugural Fox Sports 1 event and submitted him in the 1st round. Well, most recently, he lost to Rashad Evans, who did what John did to him again. Took him down and out Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen got the TKO. And Wanderlei, meanwhile, let's see. He knocked out Kung Lee in the 2nd round of their bout, UFC 139. He got outworked by Rich Franklin in their rematch at UFC 147. And then most recently, he fought in an absolute slugfest against Brian Stann and knocked him out in the 2nd round. Dropped the right hand and followed up with a beautiful left hook. Down goes Stann in Japan, the place where he became a legend in the Pride rings. And now they're both coaches on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil 3. And from what we've seen from the Tough Brazil 3 teaser, things have been very friendly between Wanderlei Silva and Chael Sonnen. I mean, hey, if you guys get a fight on set, I guess the shit's real, isn't it? It's not just a game. It's not, you know, some promotional propaganda. It's the real deal. These two hate each other. And they want to kick the living shit out of each other. Now, the question is, coming to this fight, is Chael Sonnen going to put Wanderlei Silva on his back and beat a hole in his face and prove once and for all that he's the better fighter? Or is Wanderlei Silva going to basically, for his honor and for his country, put Chael Sonnen out of his misery and deliver one of the most brutal knockout we've ever seen in the UFC? These two fighters in our little tale of the tape here. Obviously, Chael takes the height because he's 6'1". Wanderlei is 5'11", by 2 inches. Reach is the same, 74 inches. As far as cardio is concerned, both of these guys can go for 3 rounds full with no problem. Chael can go 5 rounds all day long. Wanderlei can go 5 and be successful as long as he doesn't blow his gas tank early. Because if he does that, he's going to be sluggish in the later rounds if he overexerts himself. But if he just paces himself off, it's all good. Now, Wanderlei Silva, when it comes to striking, takes it over Chael Sonnen because he's a more well-rounded striker. He's got the heavier hands. He's got more finishes than Chael Sonnen when it comes to strikes. He's got powerful knees, great right hand and hook. And he's legendary for those Muay Thai clinch followed by knees. I mean, literally. Because once he gets you into the Thai clinch and he puts the knees on you, it's finished. His ex-Quentin Rampage Jackson, who is basically left on the ropes when Wanderlei got done with him. He's got good killer instinct, but the problem with Wanderlei is that he likes to get in the brawls. And when he gets into a brawl, times that gets him in trouble. When he tried to go all brawling mode on Quentin Rampage Jackson, clock. He got knocked out with that hook. Chris Lieben, short uppers, good night. But he won't have to worry about that so much with Chael Sonnen, because Chael doesn't have the same kind of power as those guys. Chael, he has some good boxing. He did rock Anderson Silva. He did outstrike Okami on the feet. But his striking is mostly to fake for takedowns and or, you know, to throw you off your game. In this fight, he better not try to go for any spinning back fist or he's going to pay for it. His main Achilles heel are the body blows. Chael has problems when people hit him to the body. John Jones was able to exploit that. Anderson Silva was able to exploit that and finish him. And Wanderlei could do that no problem. Because if he gets to Sonnen's body and starts cracking him up there, and hits the knees in there to his body, it's over, baby. Now, nevertheless, when it comes to the wrestling, it's Chael Sonnen all day long. He's an Olympic alternate wrestler. He's able to take down any fighter that he wants. The likes of Anderson Silva, Mauricio Shogun Rua, Michael Bisping, Nate Marquardt, Yushin Okami, with the exception of John Jones and Rashad Evans, who he wasn't able to get down. But he'll have no problems getting Wanderlei Silva to the ground, because if Quinn Jackson can do it, if Michael Bisping could do it, and Chuck Liddell can do it, Chael sure as hell can do it, because he's higher ranked wrestling wise than all of those guys. And while Wanderlei Silva was able to, like, you know, counter Michael's takedown with that guillotine choke, Chael has proven that he can get out of a guillotine choke. When he fought Nate Marquardt, He locked that submission on Chael. Chael was able to get out of it. So that might be a good counter, but that's not going to be able to put Chael out because he's going to be able to get out of that. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu part of this fight is very interesting because while Wanderlei Silva outranks him by being a black belt in BJJ, he doesn't have as many submission victories as Chael Sonnen. He has one submission to his credit in Pride where he submitted Bob Strygeber via rear naked choke, while Chael has 5 submissions with, most notably being Brian Stann at UFC 135 via arm triangle choke. And last year, he submitted Wanderlei Silva's best friend and training partner, Mauricio Shogun Rua, who is also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, via arm-in guillotine choke, center ring. However, Chael has been submitted about 8 times by black belts like Anderson Silva, like Damian Maia, like Paul Ophelio, via armbar and triangle choke respectively. Here's how I see this fight playing out. Wanderlei Silva has to fight with a cool head. He can't let his emotions get the best of him. He's got to stop Sonnen's takedowns, and if he's on the ground with Sonnen, he's got to try to submit him from underneath with an armbar, or try and get the fight back on his feet, measure the timing of Chael Sonnen, pick his strikes, get him to the body, back him up against the cage, follow it up with the combinations, and that Muay Thai clinch, you get the knees in until he falls to the ground. You can keep getting him to hit him to the body some more and finish up the ground and pound, and that's it. Be a wrap. If he goes out there like a madman and comes charging in at Chael, Chael is just simply going to take him down, put him on his back, and beat a hole in his face, and smother him to kingdom come for 5 rounds. And if it's there, he's going to try to submit Wanderlei the same way he submitted Mauricio Shogun Rua. With that guillotine choke, you get him to tap. My official prediction for this fight is that Chael Sonnen is going to outwork and smother Wanderlei Silva en route to a unanimous decision. He's going to win the war to settle the score, and he's going to be rubbing it in on Wanderlei Silva. And the reason I say that is because Chael has fought better fighters than Wanderlei Silva. Because Anderson Silva is a way better striker, way better on the ground than Wanderlei, and Chael was able to take him down and control him for almost 5 rounds. Not to mention, he dominated Mauricio Shogun Rua from start to finish, and took him down, smothered him, and got that guillotine choke in, and that was a wrap. And Mauricio Shogun Rua, again, is a much better overall fighter than Wanderlei Silva. So, with all of that taken into account, Chael's going to win, and Chael's going to cut a sweet promo at the end of the fight in hostile territory. Wanderlei is going to be humiliated. He's going to be holding his head down. I hope that he can shake Chael's hand at the end of the day, you were the better man, and move on. It's hard because if he can't put together a solid win streak, he's not going to sniff title shot. Ever. He's a far cry from where he used to be, and, I don't think he can beat. Well, actuality, I know he can't beat Glover Teixeira or Gustafsson. He damn sure will get destroyed by John Jones. He can't beat Chris Weidman under no circumstances, nor Vitor Belfort or Leo Machida. He has nothing left to prove. He's been a world champion. He had the longest winning streak in Pride history. He's defeated a who's who of legends. So, with all of that being said, it's time for him to retire if he loses to Chael Sonnen, because you don't want to be one of those guys who stayed around too long and get serious injuries. I don't want to see that happen to one of my favorite fighters like Wanderlei Silva. I mean, he can still beat the lower level guys, but he'll never be the world champion. So, it's time for Chael. You know, if he continues to fight, you know, despite the fact he's no longer allowed to use TRT, you know, and finds an alternative to go on competing, then, you know, this is what his future. You know, he's probably going to fight maybe another top contender in the light heavyweight division should he choose to stay at this weight class and try to work himself to another title shot. Or he's going to move down to middleweight where he can probably get a title shot a lot easier because he's never fought Chris Weidman, and the division needs some contenders, that's for sure. And I think Chael and Chris Weidman would be a fun fight for the title. But ultimately, I got to go with Chris should that fight happen. If he's not able to find an alternative to, you know, the TRT, then he'll be an active, entertaining analyst like he's doing now, or be a commentator behind the desk. I mean, because with the UFC doing all of these events around the world, they need somebody who's got great insight for this sport, and that's entertaining. Anyways, this ends today's fight prediction video. I'll see you guys for the next.